Chapter 2 of Man of Many Minds. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit librivox.org. Man of Many Minds by E. Everett Evans. Chapter 2. Senior Lieutenant George Hanlon opened the designated door and stepped through into the next office. A gray-haired man, wearing the twin comets of a regional admiral, was sitting behind a desk, studying some papers. He continued sitting thus, the papers held so they hid his face, apparently so intent on his work he had not noticed anyone entering. But Hanlon instinctively knew better, and stood stiffly at attention, awaiting the other's pleasure. Soon the man lowered the papers, and Hanlon gasped. "Dad!" His mouth snapped shut, and his eyes became swiftly hostile at remembrance of the hate he had carried all these years on account of this man. He wanted to stalk out, but ingrained discipline chained him to the spot. His voice, though, was very cold when he spoke. "Senior Lieutenant George Hanlon reporting, sir." The big man was a startling older edition of the newly appointed lieutenant, only gray where the latter was blond, assured from long bitter experience where the other was as yet untried. Now he rose to his feet, acknowledging the salute. "At ease. I can imagine your surprise at seeing me." And if there was a hurt look on his face at the sight of that implacable hatred in his son's eyes and demeanor, he could not be blamed. "However, I think your experience of the past hour might have prepared you for sight of me in uniform. Yes," as he saw the sudden surprise in the young man's eyes. "That was the reason for my apparent disgrace. I hope you will forgive me, now that you know why it was necessary." "Of course," stiffly punctilious. "Only—" his eyes were still hard and stormy. "Was it important enough to break Mother's heart?" The old man's voice grew soft and shook with genuine emotion. "You and everyone had to believe that, Spence, all these years. I've been prayerfully waiting for the day when I could explain to you. I can assure you, son," with all the sincerity his voice could carry, "that she did not die of a broken—" "I know "You do not know better," his father interrupted sternly. "Please wait until I finish explaining. No, Spence." His voice was still, emphatic, but softer now, almost pleading. "She knew and approved. Your mother was one of Earth's great heroines." Hanlon was still standing stiffly, but now his eyes clouded with mixed emotions, of which doubt predominated. His mind touched that of his father, and he seemed to read truth there. But could he believe this now, after all those dreadful years? "Actually," his father was continuing, "your mother had become a victim of multiple sclerosis. When we knew she had less than 2 months to live, I talked to her, with the Corps' permission, about my going into Secret Service work. With her death so near, it could be done convincingly. Believing you would understand some day, and approve, she agreed. I'm terribly sorry for all you've had to suffer during the intervening years. Again, I beg forgiveness." As his father talked, Hanlon's eyes and heart gradually lost their hardness, and at the end he ran forward and grasped the other's hands. "Oh, Dad, I'm so sorry. I've hating you. If it hadn't been for the long talks Ma and Pa Hanlon had with me, I don't believe I would ever have gone into the cadet school." The older man hugged his son hungrily. "Believe me, Spence, it wasn't easy for me either. But I didn't actually desert you, even though it had to seem so. I know everywhere you've been, everything you've done. You've been watched over constantly. I engineered your adoption by the Hanlons. He was a retired corpsman, you know, and I've paid your expenses. You see, I happen to love my son very much." "And I loved my dad so, too. That's why it hurt. Say, now I can change my name back, can't I? The Hanlons both died since I started cadet school, you know." "Well, no, for the time being I think not. You're well known as Hanlon now, and you'd better leave it that way, for now at least. However, you'll find need of an alias from time to time in this new job. You can use it then. I certainly will be proud to have you wearing my name again." But both men were shying away from all this frank expression of their emotion, and Hanlon dropped back a pace. "How does it happen I've never seen you around the buildings or grounds here?" "No one ever sees me in uniform, except in this or some other base office on special occasions. Otherwise, I'm always disguised. When I come into a reservation, I'm a bearded janitor or something. You'll soon learn about disguising yourself." Then he became all business, and his face sobered as he went back to his desk. "Sit there, Lieutenant. There's a lot to tell you, and you are to pay strict attention and get it all in this one interview, for there can't be another at this time. It would attract too much attention for you to be called here more than this once." He smiled again, with a warm fatherly pride. "First, let me congratulate you officially on your decision, and to welcome you sincerely into the Secret Service." Hanlon bowed in acknowledgment, then sat down and leaned forward attentively. "I'll try to get it all, sir." "First, the matter of your dismissal. It will come some time within the next few days, but even I won't know ahead of time when or how it will happen. Some Secret Service man unknown on Terra will be called in to attend to it. But when it does come, you will recognize it almost instantly, and you must play it up big. Don't let on in any way that you suspect or know it is anything but genuine. You must impress on your fellow students, and upon everyone else you know, or later come to know, that it was real, and that it has soured you for all time on the Corps, and on all law and order and government." The young man nodded, but said nothing, for his throat was clogged and his spirits quailing at the thought of that public disgrace. He had been so proud here. How could he possibly stand giving it all up? Maybe he was a fool ever to have agreed. But the Admiral was continuing. He shoved a sheaf of bills across the table. "Here's 1,000 credits. Use them to buy your civilian clothes and kit after your dismissal. Buy a few shares of some stock, too. The amount or value doesn't matter. Get a small insurance policy." "Yes," seeing the son's questioning look, "there's a reason. After you get your clothing and things, and have discarded your uniform, go rent a hotel room. Then go to the Interstellar Bank and rent a safety deposit box. That's one of the first things you do in each city on any planet to which you may be sent on assignment. Now here are 2 keys that fit box number 1044 in all interstellar banks. They are special master keys of our own designing. Box 1044 is used because of its nearness to those private booths in the universal setup all interstellar banks use. That box is our means of confidential communication. After you get into the vault, ostensibly to get into your own box, use these to open box 1044. There's a little electronic gadget in each box 1044. When you want immediate service on anything you put into the box, press the red button on the mechanism. Go back a few hours later and it will have been attended to. So now, when you get into the bank, put a note there listing your hotel room number and also your new deposit key number. Come back in a couple of hours, and you'll find a key that will have your box number stamped on it, but which will open both boxes. Then leave your old key and one of these in 1044, and carry the other and the new one." "Oh, I see. The stock and insurance policy in my own box are decoys, eh?" "Right. You put all your reports in box 1044 and get your orders there. We all use 1044, so just sort through the envelopes for any with your name on them. The same key also locks the soundproof and spy-proof cubicle in the vault, so no one, not even another Secret Service man, can interrupt you unless you want to let them in." "My own box for decoy, 1044 for service matters. Key fits both boxes and cubicles, red button for quick service. Yes, sir." When you get to a new city or planet, put your local address there as soon as feasible. That's your one sure contact. Also, in each box you'll find quite a lot of money at all times. You take what you need for expenses and get your salary that way. If your job calls for more than is in the box at any time, leave a request and press the red button. More will be brought immediately." "That's quite a trust, sir," Hanlon gulped. "I hope I'll always use it wisely." His father nodded and smiled. "You will, Spence. We wouldn't have asked you to join us if we weren't sure. As your father, I'm mighty proud to have you for a son. As Assistant Chief of the Secret Service, I feel sure you'll be a credit to us. Now, all business again, a sleep instructor and some reels of the language and other information about Simonides 4 will be delivered to your hotel room. Simonides 4 is your first assignment. There's something fishy going on there we haven't been able to find out about, but we think you can get us some good leads. Don't try to handle it alone, just get us information. And son, use your talent for reading minds. I heard over the intercom all you said to Rogers, and while that wasn't the only reason you were asked into the Secret Service, believe me, it will be tremendously important to your work with us. It'll help us where no other agent can get to First Check Station. And I have a feeling, too, that you'll develop both that and many other mental abilities once your mind starts to hit the ball. You'll find in this work every single talent and ability you can develop will be useful and needed.
Yes, Hanlon nodded slowly. I'm beginning to realize that. I'll practice a lot.
As for money, don't be niggardly. Spend what you like, and always carry quite a bit with you for emergencies. Live well, although not extravagantly, unless the occasion of your work demands it. Not to save money, but to remain as inconspicuous as possible.
The service has it all thought out, hasn't it?
Admiration shone in the young lieutenant's eyes. They've had a lot of years for it, Spence. Now, there's another means of contact for cases of emergency. Get word to, or an interview with, any officer of the rank of Rear Admiral or above. The words Andromeda 7 are the passwords to let him know who and what you are. Once you have made that contact, commandeer anything or any service needed to assist your work.
I understand, sir.
Hanlon strained to review all this new information quickly. Then,
I'm sure I have it all. Get civilian kit, hotel room, stocks and insurance. Deposit boxes, my own and 1044. Sleep learn Simonidian. Andromeda 7.
Correct. Now, you'll be interested in a little of the background of the Secret Service. It was John Snyder himself who organized it shortly after the formation of the Snyder Patrol. He realized almost at once that such an unknown undercover echelon would be a must. There's usually not more than 200 of us. New members are taken in only as replacements, or when some corpsman with a special ability, such as your mind reading, is discovered. We work anywhere throughout space when there's a need, but there are usually 1 or 2 of us on each planet of the Federation at all times. When not on any special assignment, we keep busy on some planet not our original home, checking the background of cadets or specially appointed government workers, guarding VIPs and such other vital matters. But whatever we are, or whatever we are doing, we are the Corps. We are mighty proud of the fact that no Secret Service man has ever betrayed his trust, even to save his life. Our work is dangerous in the extreme, but without exception we are all men with high mental ability, quick thinking, clever, and unusually adept at getting out of scrapes. He grimaced mirthlessly. We learn that last mighty quick in this business, if we last. And to all of us, our dangerous, unadvertised, publicly unrecognized work is personally highly satisfying. We know we are the guardians of the peace of the Federation, even though we get no hero worship from the populace, who don't know we exist.
Hanlon nodded slowly, thoughtfully. One thing puzzles me, Dad. You and Admiral Rogers both spoke about how secret all this is, yet I was given the chance to back out after I knew about it.
His father grinned. Several have over the years. They underwent treatment to erase that knowledge from their mind. He stood up and came around the desk to where his son had also risen. I may not see you again before you leave, Spence. George, I mean. He smiled ruefully, then brightened. But the best of luck, son, and keep in mind that you have the honor of the finest body of men in the universe in your keeping, and always try to be worthy of the trust.
I will, sir.
Gravely.
It seems almost too much responsibility for a cub like me, and I'm scared, but I'll do my best.
Take it easy at first. Don't try too much, and don't put yourself in any more danger than you have to until you learn the ropes, which you will faster than you may now think. On this assignment, all we ask is that you try to get us some leads we can work on.
Right. I don't want to conk out too soon now. I've got a lot of living I want to do first, especially now I've got my dad back again. I sure hope we manage to see each other fairly often.
Oh, we undoubtedly will, except when one or the other of us is on a long job. We'll meet, somewhere, quite often.
About this assignment of mine, Dad, can you give me any dope on it?
You'll get what any of us know from the reels, and the latest development from the box when you're ready to start out. Oh, I almost forgot. The paper we use is a digestible plastic, so make a meal off all orders and confidential communications you receive. The box always contains a supply for your reports or requests for specific information or assistance."
"Saves money on feed bills, eh?"
His father grinned appreciatively, then sobered. "Make sure you understand each step you take first, and don't try to run until you know how to crawl. Well, safe flights, Spence."
"Safe flights to you too, Dad, always. And I want you to know I'm so glad to have all those horrible misunderstandings and hates cleared away."
"I missed my boy, too. But vast rewards, you know." With mixed sensations of high elation and worried fear, the swiftly maturing young corpsman walked slowly through the beautiful park that surrounded the great stainless steel skyscraper that housed the cadets during their training period. His thoughts were as twisted as were the meandering paths and walks he trod so unseeingly. End of chapter 2. Recording by Todd.